Our headlines today. Thick fog is causing travel disruption around the UK and forecasters warn it's likely to continue for much of today.
The TUC calls on the government to get serious about improving pay for public sector workers.
Documents released by the Irish National Archives reveal a Republican plot to poison the water supply in England in the late 90s.
Good morning. Arsenal closed the gap at the top of the Premier League. A 1-0 win over Ipswich moves them within 6 points of the leaders, Liverpool.
And there's a lot more mist and fog again today across many parts of England and Wales, but for some, it will turn a little brighter.
A threat to poison English water supplies during the period known as the Troubles in Northern Ireland is among the revelations in the latest release of Irish state papers. Each year, documents relating to the near 30-year conflict are declassified and made available to the public.
Pope Francis is to become the second pope to share his thought for the day on BBC Radio 4 this morning.
His contribution to the segment, which sees individuals from major faiths share their reflections on the world around us, has been recorded in Italian and then translated into English.
His message is said to encourage hope, kindness and humility. 16 minutes past 7 now. Ahead of the ban on disposable vapes and e-cigarettes next year, trading standards have been working alongside police to find and seize illegal and counterfeit products.
In South East Wales, officials have recovered almost £2 million worth of goods in just over a year, largely from locations with links to organised crime. Let's have a look at what's making the headlines on the Saturday papers, shall we? See what's on the front pages this morning. As you wake up on the 28th of December, the iWeekend front page reporting that water companies in England have only been fined £2 by regulator Ofwat for 2021 for breaching regulations, despite record sewage levels. Campaigners say that the fine is pathetic.
More than 1.5 million children are studying in dilapidated school buildings. This according to an investigation by The Guardian. The paper says one school in Cumbria had to be evacuated after inspectors found the floor was liable to collapse. The Times reports millions of homeowners will be given grants and cheap loans to convert their properties to solar power as part of the government's plan to meet its 2030 clean energy pledge. The paper says the scheme still requires Treasury approval.
And the Daily Mirror reflects tributes from the Prime Minister to his brother Nick, who has died of cancer at the age of 60. Sir Keir Starmer said that Nick was wonderful. He met life's challenges with good humour and with courage.
This piece of music might be quite familiar.
They play it at the end of the day as well, just before the last one, about 1:45 in the morning.
Do you ever sleep?
It nods you off, makes you nod off. It's so calming, isn't it?
What's it called?
It's called Sailing By.
100 years after it was first broadcast, a special anniversary edition of the Shipping Forecast is going to air this New Year's Day on BBC Radio 4.
Yes, the broadcaster Stephen Fry, the round-the-world yachtswoman Dame Ellen MacArthur, she knows all about the Shipping Forecast, and Ruth Jones, who plays Nessa in Gavin and Stacey. Oh, what's occurring in North at Sierra?
There are all some famous faces who'll recreate historical versions of the weather report to mark its centenary. It's going to be very interesting.
It will be.
I wonder, Elizabeth, morning to you. Do you ever listen to the Shipping Forecast? I mean, you're probably one of the few people in this environment here who understands it.
Yes, well, I read it earlier on this morning on Radio 4. It's always a privilege, Naga.
It's a joy, isn't it? It'll be really interesting to hear how others do it.
Britain's longest-serving postman has finally called time on his career. Robert Hudson, known as Rocky to his friends, began working for the Royal Mail at the age of 16, delivering telegrams. He moved to night shifts when his wife died so he could look after his family. 60 years later, after his final shift, he looked back on some of the interesting characters he's met.
Yeah, you get chased by dogs sometimes, but, you know, that happens to all of them. You carry a couple of biscuits in your pocket to keep them quiet. You get used to it, you try and make friends with them rather than enemies. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've had a good career there. I've met loads and loads of people. I've met the King twice.
Congratulations, Rocky. That is quite a career.
It's been a day of chaos and delays at London airports as thick fog grounded planes on one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. Flights were delayed or cancelled altogether at Heathrow, Gatwick, Luton and Stansted. Temporary air traffic restrictions have been in place, with the Met Office warning patches of thick fog could reduce visibility to just 100 metres in some areas. And there's been further disruption on the rail network too. Two of London's busiest stations, Liverpool Street and Paddington, remain shut, with major engineering works underway. TfL have said the Elizabeth Line services will also suffer delays from those works. There's no doubt being around animals can be good for our well-being, but an organisation at Richmond Park is taking things a step further. Operation Centaur touches on the healing bond between horses and humans, taking therapy out of its traditional clinical setting and into nature. Alex Isaac went along to find out more.
Horses and humans have always had a relationship, whether it's assisting our travel, carrying goods or ploughing fields. But they provide an even closer connection. They can help us heal. Operation Centaur helps those struggling with any kind of emotional difficulty. It's not about riding a horse, but being in their presence.
Working with horses is a very soft way of actually delivering psychotherapy. Sometimes we call it psychotherapy by the back door in a way, because we can focus on the relationship with the horse. And through talking about how you are experiencing that relationship with the horse, you're actually starting to talk about yourself quite a lot. And the skill of my team of psychologists and therapists is really how you then start using those kind of stories and those kind of insights into helping that person get some insights into themselves.
It's not all about the people. Horses are emotional creatures too, and it's important they don't get burnt out.
We need to have horses that are very emotionally available. All our therapy horses, of course, need a workout. We've set up a small membership scheme, adopt or share a horse. So we need to be very careful to kind of find the people to ride them, to not kind of get these horses, fed up.
Members come down at least once a week to take their horse out.
He'd give me my therapy riding around the park, and then I'd come back and then he'd go straight into the therapy program where he'd help lots of other people.
It's just an amazing break from normal London life.
And it's just so lovely to come here at the end of the week and just connect.
Whether it's giving therapy or getting it, or simply taking time out to enjoy a festive carriage ride, horses have been helping us in more ways than we know. Alex Isaac, ITV News.